comes up, we're live. Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Alan Hall event tonight, where we're going to be talking about Alan's prospective candidature for Labour Mayor of Lewisham. Really pleased that you can all come and listen to us. We want to talk about in an open and transparent way, and we want to actually give you, the people of Lewisham, the chance to question Alan tonight and just find out a little bit about him, what he stands for, you know, what his values are and what he wants to do for Lewisham. But really, in essence, this is tonight's event is for you, the people who will be voting in this election, and the people who have to live, work and spend your time in and around Lewisham. We've got people joining already, Alan. You'll be delighted to see that. So the plan tonight is we're going to have lots of questions. We've had loads and loads emailed in already, so we're going to go through them. We're going to take your questions as you ask them, but without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Alan, who's just going to make a short opening statement.
Oh, thank you very much, and I'd like to thank the Labour Party for giving me this opportunity by shortlisting me to be on the ballot paper for the next Mayor of Lewisham. What I would like to say really at the top is the future of Lewisham is in your hands, or the hands of the Labour Party members who will be voting in this election. Ballot papers will be dropping through your door either tomorrow or Saturday, and I'm seeking your support, as I know that I've got the experience and knowledge to change Lewisham for the better. A little bit about me. I was born in Brockley, I went to school in Catford, and I now live in Forest Hill. I know that the diversity of Lewisham's residents is its strength. We can do much more together. We must be ambitious about Lewisham, and we must aspire to change it, but change it for the better.
Thank you, Alan. So basically, it's now over to you. We've got lots and lots of questions that have come in, and we're going to start with a couple of them. So the first one, Alan, is from Martin Walsum, and he says, Alan, I live in Oxford Gardens estate in Lewisham. My question is, Alan, where do you stand regarding the need for more social housing across the borough of Lewisham? I, like many other residents, are fed up of seeing the whole area of Lewisham being created for more well-off people, and ordinary people and their families don't get a look in. If you were elected as mayor, how would you change this policy?
It's a very big concern for me. I am a board member of a cooperative housing association called Phoenix, so I do a lot of work on the ground in the south of the borough. But more recently, what I did is there was a strategic planning committee where we were looking at an application to increase the density of housing in the centre of Lewisham, which is quite near the questioner, and I just really found it extraordinary that people could come to the council and expect them to approve an application without any social rented housing. Social rented would include council and housing associations, to be clear, and the word affordable has now been discredited. So any development, I feel, should have social rented housing included in it. Any development of any great size should have social housing included in it. And I really do think that communities should be mixed. When you do have a big development, you want true mixed communities. You don't want these poor doors or posh doors. You want everyone to use the same door.
That's great, Alan. Very succinct there. I hope that's clear for you, Martin. A fellow Alan has asked you, what do you think about the Bakerloo Line extension, and will it even happen?
A lot of people get very sceptical about big infrastructure projects, and I can understand why. I remember the East London Line extension, which we now all use in Forest Hill, Sydenham, Brockley, Honor Oak Park and New Cross. It will happen, I believe. I think Sadiq Khan, as Labour's mayor, has pushed the project forward. It will happen, and the extension has been promised to Lewisham Station. But I believe it doesn't go far enough. I think we can be a little bit more ambitious. We can go into Bromley. I think it should go all the way to Hayes. I think it should go through Catford and Sydenham, Lower Sydenham. And I would lobby hard for that. Transport is a big issue in a London borough, and that's what Lewisham is.
Thank you, Alan. Tom's asking a question about your experience and ability to carry out the role. He's saying, Alan, as mayor, prospectively, you would have contact with lots of leaders of businesses and other public services. Do you have experience to handle this situation?
That's an interesting question, actually. Very recently, I've had contact with the borough commanders of the ambulance service, the police service and the fire service. And it's been one of the highlights is when you go out with the emergency services across Lewisham and see the incredible work they do. Grenfell Tower has been in the news, and I hosted a meeting where I got the new Borough Fire Commander, to come along and actually explain his position on tall buildings and fire personally. And I think that personal touch in a mayoral election is very, very important.
Thank you, Alan. Another one here from Mark, who's asking, do you support the London living wage?
The London living wage. Lewisham was one of the first boroughs to adopt the London living wage, along with Islington. But I'll let you into a not well-kept secret that I actually put that on the Mayor's agenda. It was through conversations with the former General Secretary of the GMB and London Citizens, the campaign group, and I couldn't see why Lewisham as a council couldn't adopt the London living wage, because it's a wage it should be paying all its staff. And as it transpired, it was able to sign up for that way back, I think, in 2008, and we're now going to develop it into something like that I would like to call the Lewisham living wage, and make sure all our contractors comply with it.
Thank you. Alan, Steve Winston from Lompit Vale is asking a question. He's saying, we know your stance on fighting to stop the CPO around Millwall Football Club ground and the surrounding area. What he wants to know, though, is what are Millwall's own plans for around their ground, and will that benefit all that live in Lewisham?
I think that's a good question, and I think Millwall Football Club should be given the opportunity to put their plans out there. I think they should be able to say and articulate what they would like to do. I would like to add, though, I think a compulsory purchase order must be in the public interest. It must be compelling and in the public interest, so it's a high test. That's why I was opposing it. Without any social housing of note in it, I think it failed that test. I'm proud of Millwall Football Club in Lewisham. I think having a football club is a great asset to this borough, and the community scheme is regarded by all football clubs locally as essential, as it brings young players into the game.
Thank you, Alan. Lots of people joining us online, so I'm sure Alan would join me in saying welcome and thank you for supporting this session.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity to be able to seek your support to be the Mayor of Lewisham, and I really relish this.
Thank you, Alan. Sharon, has come up with a real corker of a question, I feel, and an absolutely burning issue that affects us all, is the NHS. And Sharon's saying there was a really high-profile campaign to protect Lewisham Hospital. She feels that the NHS is in absolute crisis, and will you stand up for it if you're elected Mayor of Lewisham?
The short answer is yes. And I want to just say that in the Save the Lewisham Hospital campaign, there were many people who helped that campaign. Thousands went to the streets on several occasions. And a big thank you to all those people who participated in it. What some people might not realise is that I actually was present in the Court of Appeal when the historic judgment overturning Jeremy Hunt's ill-fated attempt to close Lewisham Hospital was quashed by the Master of the Rolls. It took 3 minutes for them to come out and give their verdict. I was put on the spot by ITN News. If you go to my website, you can see that live interview. Obviously, it's not live now, but that live interview is there on the website. I do look a little bit nervous, but I was elated that we won. Absolutely elated. What I would like to say, though, about the NHS now is that I'm at the forefront of opposing plans for the sustainability and transformation plans, as they're called, or slash, trash and privatise, as others may call them, cuts. The budget of the NHS is colossal, but it's facing a huge amount of pressure. I meet regularly with the Chief Executive of Lewisham Hospital, but I also have met the Chief Executives and Finance Directors of King's College Hospital, the South London and Maudsley, and St Thomas's and Guy's Hospital. Do you know what? They say in one clear voice that they want us to stand up for them.
Brilliant answer, Anna. Thank you very much. So lots and lots of questions coming in, and thank you to everyone who is asking a question. Barry from Hither Green is really succinctly put, Alan, what makes you the best candidate for this role?
I think it's a combination of experience. I think it's ability. I think I'm Labour. I'm Labour through and through. I've been a Labour councillor since 2006. I was elected by my peers, the other councillors, to lead the Labour group during some really trying times. I mean, I remember a financial crash. I remember setting a budget when we had a Labour government, setting a budget when we've had a Tory government. I think that I have demonstrated a very inclusive approach, and I really support the community in being able to access the council. I want the town hall to be the place where people come to discuss, to participate, and to really engage in the burning issues that face the London Borough of Lewisham.
Thank you, Alan. Emily's come online. Welcome, Emily, and ask you, what are your ideas and thoughts for improving secondary school provision within the borough?
Primary schools are very, very highly regarded, and I think it's fair to say that that's not the case with all the secondary provision. The government have really cutting funding for schools. I was at the forefront of Forest Hill School's recent campaign. I think as a council, sometimes we just got to stand up for our community, stand up for education, and argue for fairer funding for schools. I don't think we should apologise for some of the ill-conceived ideas of this Tory government.
Thank you, Alan. If elected, Daisy's saying, if elected, what's going to be your top priority?
My top priority is austerity, because I think we can do more than one thing at a time. But what we do need to do is we need to stop salami slicing our budget and trying to do a bit of everything. I think what we can do is we can do things like, say, we need some arts and culture in Lewisham. We need to prioritise that. That will help everybody. That helps young and old. I'm very conscious, though, that younger people feel very disenfranchised. They don't feel as if they've got a stake in society. They don't feel that they can leave home until they're in their 30s. I find this attitude and this circumstance absolutely terrible, and I'll do all I can to create opportunity for people to grow, to be independent, and to participate in our London Borough.
Thank you, Alan. A question that's a hot topic amongst a lot of party members and activists, Alan. Where do you stand on your support for the leadership of the Labour Party?
I think my support for Jeremy Corbyn is well known. I'm the only candidate, though, who has the backing of Jeremy Corbyn for PM, the campaign group. The Shadow Chancellor, John MacDonald, has endorsed me. I'm absolutely delighted that he's endorsed me. That's the person who would be in charge of the budget of this country when we get a Labour government. Also, David Prescott, who is Jeremy Corbyn's political advisor, he has endorsed me too. I really want to work with the Shadow Cabinet. I think we had a fantastic manifesto at the last election, and that's why we saw an increase in our vote.
Thank you, Alan. Another sort of hot topic in the movement at the minute. Where do you stand on the tradition of the link between the Labour Party and its trade unions?
It's essential. As a young man, I was elected as a trade union official. I believe it was at the age of 20. I found myself negotiating the pay for some, I think it was around about 600 people for a very large newspaper. Trade unionism enables workers, employees, everyone to get a fair crack of the whip. It enables people. It enables people to get a fair wage. I'm really pleased that Unite the Union has left the train drivers, and the communications union, the postal branch in South East London, are supporting me. And it's amazing what we all have in common, isn't it? When it came to saving Sydenham Post Office and New Cross Gate Post Office, I was there standing with the CWU. On the anti-austerity march, I was there with Unite, the community branch, Grenfell Tower. I support the idea and participation of trade unions, and I support the broader Labour movement. The Labour Party and the Labour movement are essential in this country for progressive change.
Thank you, Alan. Ellie's asking, another really good quality question is, opportunities for young people to get on in life are so short these days. What work are you pledging to undertake in the borough and have a wider influence on that as well?
I think the apprenticeships are a good way. I mean, I've got practical experience. We were at the Fellowship Inn today, which is a project that's got £4 million of Heritage Lottery funding. I was there with Ellie Reeves, a newly elected MP for Lewisham, Western Penge, seeing what we really can do practically. None of this is council money. It's money we've levered in from the Heritage Lottery Fund. There are going to be apprenticeships there. There are going to be local people working there, over 70 jobs. I mean, if we can replicate some of these schemes across the borough, I'm sure that we can create some real opportunities. I work with the FE sector. You know, vocational education is really important. That's why one of my priorities is to make sure lifelong learning is a priority.
Thank you. And we're moving to the last couple of questions now, and one's very simple, the other is a little bit more complex. The first one is, can you win this? Can you firstly win the support of the Labour Party and then the people of Lewisham?
I won the support of my colleagues. I won many elections as a councillor. We can win this, and we must win this. We must win this to change Lewisham for the better. With your help and with your vote, we will win this.
Thank you, Alan. And final question before I hand over you to say a few words at the end is, there's lots and lots of people online watching now. There's lots of people who will watch this once it's gone out as a recording, and lots of people will be wondering, not knowing their way around the Labour Party, how can they help a candidate like yourself to succeed? So what can people practically do to help you get over that line?
I would ask them to vote for me as their first preference. I would say to them, have the confidence to elect someone who's experienced, who will be very inclusive, who will unite the Labour Party, support the leadership and change Lewisham for the better.
That's brilliant, and we've got lots and lots of positive comments coming in, Alan. So just now over to you really to gather your final thoughts and give a message to the people of Lewisham in these last few days before the ballot paper go out.
What I would ask and say is I'm determined to transform the way Lewisham Council works in the interest of its employees, and its employees are actually residents. Residents, businesses, young people, the whole population of Lewisham, which is growing, over 300,000 people now. We can change Lewisham. We need to change Lewisham. We need to work together. It's a mayoral election, but my pledge is to work together with the Labour Party and the Labour movement to get a great manifesto as we come in to 2018, so we get the highest vote ever for the Labour Party in Lewisham.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you everyone for tuning in, and we ask that you keep sharing this video after it goes off. Thank you all very much.